So I'm trying my Ethiopian kind of style peanut kale nuggets. They're really delicious. Honestly, I can't tell that they're kale unless I look at them and they're green. Really good. So if you were um, looking at a video a while back where I mentioned how to make these, just pretty much go by feel. You just taste it along the way while you're mixing it up. It doesn't really take any extra time to make them. You just make them while you're sitting watching movies. And you're probably going to do that anyway. Or TV. I mean, how many hours do you spend sitting in front of the television? Lots. I'd already watched this, and it wasn't good the first time. Anyway, now, recently, my husband went and visited his family, and he went to his sister's place, and he brought a whole bunch of food. I sent along a lot of food. So that, because I knew he would need something to eat while he was gone, and I didn't want him eating restaurant food or whatever, but they ended up eating restaurant food, I think. Anyway, he did eat sardines, which I'm very pleased that he managed to make it through those. But one of his sisters, I'd made some pickled organic celery, jars of that, and I sent that along. And one of the sisters, she took all the other jars of stuff that I sent along, but she declined with the celery because she was worried about the sodium content. And anyway, when which is fine. I'm very pleased that she accepted my gifts of other things like cherry wine and stuff like that, right? So anyway, my husband he packed a whole bunch of these nuggets that are coated in amaranth, teff, and quinoa. 2 of those seeds are complete proteins, and the other one aids in weight loss. So it wasn't the peanut ones, because I don't actually think peanuts are very healthy for a person to eat. But I have been eating them. I've been eating peanut butter lately, so I thought, well, I may as well try out this in a nugget recipe. And it works really well. So for people who are really into peanuts and they're not willing to give them up, they think they're perfectly healthy, like what do you call it? I don't know, the world's healthiest foods or whatever. Whoever, I can't remember what his name is, but I've referred to him a lot on my blog. He thinks peanuts are one of the world's healthiest foods. Okay, whatever. So anyway, I've been eating them lately. I think it's the choline. I think I've been wanting the choline, and I haven't been eating the UV beans, so I'll have to change that. But anyway, So I made the nuggets, but I didn't send those along. I sent along the ones that were made with miso and nutritional yeast as the flavoring to make them cheesy. They're really easy to eat, and they go with, like, if you're into dips, they go with any dip, so they're very good. These ones you don't need to dip into anything, but you could mix together like some sesame and all sort of thing, excuse me, and dip that. But anyway, so I'd sent along a bunch of the nuggets and a couple freezer bags full of them, and so he packed them into his one sister's place and put them in the freezer. And then I told him, look, they're really easy to make. You just oven 350 until they're kind of toasty looking, and that's it, right? And get everybody to try them so that they consider eating them, because I've come to the realization that I'm probably not going to be able to convince people to take my morning rose juice, drink the kale juice with the turmeric and whatever. And every day I do. It's not necessarily kale. Sometimes it's red cabbage or whatever. Something else really healthy, or broccoli, or sometimes cauliflower. That's really disgusting. Anyway, there are a number of things that I mix it up with. This time of year it's mostly kale, but that's tapering off now. And anyway, so I've realized that that's a tough sell, though. That's very disgusting to drink, and not many people are willing to do that. So with the kale, making the kale bites out of the pulp, that's an easy sell. And then who wants to waste the juice? So they might drink it, right? So that's where I've come to try to convince people to consume more of these healthy greens by making the bites. So, and you can make burger patties. It's very easy. Everybody likes eating hamburgers, so just make it out of your kale pulp or red cabbage pulp for the most part, right? And that works. It hardly taste like anything. It basically tastes like spinach once you do this to it. So anyway, so he packs in these nuggets, and no, he doesn't make any of them. Nobody eats the nuggets. And I guess he had a really stressful visit, and I shouldn't have sent along food, as it turned out, because it just stressed him out more. So anyway, so he says to me, well, I'm gonna have to kind of bring back the food, because and I'm like, all right, well, just go get a bag of ice from the grocery store when you're filling up with fuel. And so he carts it all back, and not all. They did take some of the apples, but when he was pulling the freezer bags, there was a clear bag that he thought was one of the freezer bags, and it had these in it. And that I shouldn't have even told him, because I knew it was going to stress him out when I told him about it. But because I knew these were not ours. When I was unpacking the cooler, I was like, I did not send that along. And I know James wouldn't have bought these, because these are like anti-nutrition. These are pickled or breaded pickle spears. So they are terrible. I looked at the nutritional information on the bag, and really all you're getting is a shootload of sodium. Like, so much. And how much sodium in these? 0. These are have way more nutritional value than these. These are terrible. And the sister that these actually belong to, which I guess we're going to have to get her a bag of these when we go, or whatever, whenever James goes to visit next or something. Which, this is terrible. I don't want to have to eat these. I want to just throw them in the garbage. They're not food. And I see this is what people are eating all the time. Or things like this. She's the sister that he visited. She was on the Atkins diet. Oh, it works on the Atkins diet years ago. And she gets bigger, type 2 diabetes, she gets bigger. And then now, oh yeah, paleo, she's paleo. Bigger, hands are swollen, feet are swollen. So I hope she really enjoys these more than she enjoys having hands and feet. You know, honestly, ridiculous. Oh, I got a little mean there. Anyway, I don't even know why I bother trying to, you know, honestly, like the last time, I didn't go this time, I just sent food along. Last time I visited, I packed a cooler full of food, like cherries I'd harvested, tomatoes I'd grown. I go to my family, I bring these things, and my grandma, she's hitting cherries like crazy, and you know, but you know what, I just need to stop talking. People don't change. Even if you feed them, even if you actually make the food and put it right in front of them so that it's easy for them to just eat it, so it's instant, they'll still go for this. And this is not paleo, this is not Atkins, this is not food. And it's disgusting. I don't know how you're supposed to eat these, because I followed the instructions on the bag. I put them in the oven. They are revolting. I don't understand how anybody could want to eat that rather than food. Okay, so anyway, James watched that, and then he became really depressed, and I don't think that had anything to do with it. I shouldn't have told him that he accidentally brought back something that did not belong to us, because I think that's what I shouldn't have told him that. It just stressed him out more. He was all really stressed out, and when he gets stressed out, I get stressed out, which is what happened when I ate 6 chocolate muffins, because he'd been talking to me on the phone about how stressful his visit was, and he was gone, and I'm already worried, because I worry about I don't worry about him when he's at a destination away from me, exactly, for the most part. It's the travel, you know, it's very dangerous. And anyway, this, I don't even know what it was about. It was on, and it was so boring, it didn't catch my attention at all. This was good. Mobius. It was in both French and English. It should have been in Russian too, but I didn't hear any Russian. That would have seemed more authentic. But anyway, it did seem a little long, and it's not. But it was interesting. It's a spy kind of movie, and they're usually interesting. Half the picture, women directors in Hollywood. I guess as far as directors in Hollywood go, it's a total sausage party. But you know what? Women directors, you could just have a character in your movie say, yeah, I'm trying to break into the directing thing in Hollywood, but it's a total sausage party. And that's that. You don't have to make a whole documentary on the topic. God. Anyway, here to be heard, the story of the slits. And they really weren't very good. I mean, basically, pretty much only a cover band and not worth listening to. So I guess they had a lot of film footage to work with because they were so self-absorbed that they actually thought they were something. And I guess they managed to convince a few other people of that. But really, this is not worth watching, and their music is not worth listening to. The trouble with antibiotics was an hour long, but really it was not. It was combined with a story about some person having a bone marrow transplant and then ending up having to go back into the hospital and dying of antibiotic resistant bacteria infection. So they didn't cover the issue of overuse of farm antibiotics, like overuse of antibiotics in livestock, nearly as well as they should have. But as long as it gets out there, like this came out in 2014, and it finally reached my library this summer. They just bought this summer. I'd been frustrated that they didn't have this earlier, but now they do. So now you can borrow it and learn a little bit about a massive problem. So anyway, so that's that. And revolting. It's disgusting. Ugh. And it's not food. This is not food.